I think I might be one of the biggest TickTick users out there. I put everything in it: tasks, notes, random thoughts, birthdays, packing lists. And yeah, it sounds a little insane. But honestly, I just don't want to open 10 different apps every day. So now, everything just goes into one place. At its core, TickTick is really about tasks. I use different lists to separate things in a simple way. But there's no single correct way to do this. How you structure your lists really depends on your own life. For example, for me, I have a work folder. Inside it, I first have a overall list. I divide it into weekly, short-term, and long-term sections and write down plans for each stage. Then, for the rest, I split things based on my actual work. Since I do game development, I have lists like levels, character design, testing, and so on. And inside each list, I just record the tasks I need to do. But actually, you don't need to copy my setup. Everyone's life is different. But you can take this idea. Use one folder to group all work-related lists. Use one list to hold your main plans for a period of time. Then break down your actual tasks based on your work. Besides work, I also use lists to manage everyday life. For example, shopping. There are always things I want or need to buy. So whenever I think of something, I just write it down. Then when I know I'm going to the store, say tomorrow, I select the things I can buy, combine them into one task, and set the date to tomorrow. Once a time is set, I can see it in the smart lists. For example, it shows up in Tomorrow Now, and when tomorrow comes, it moves into today. In TickTick, once you set a date, it automatically shows up in the right smart list, so it's really easy to check what I need to do today, tomorrow, or in the next few days. That way, I only need to look at one place. Once I have these lists, everything I think of has somewhere to go. I don't rely on my memory anymore. If it's something I can write down in a few seconds, like, this is something I need to remember later, I just throw it into TickTick. If I don't write it down immediately, it's basically gone. On my computer, I use a shortcut to open the input box. Or I just create a sticky note and write down anything, like things I find while working. On my phone, I use voice input. Long press the plus button to enter voice mode, and you can also swipe left to lock the recording. Ideas usually come in random moments, and they're not always structured. I just turn on recording and say whatever I want, even while doing something else. That way, no sudden idea gets lost. Another thing that helps is turning repetitive things into reusable lists. For example, going out or traveling. Before, I had to keep checking. Did I bring this? Did I forget that? Now I just make a list. Charger, laptop, documents, headphones. Then I save it as a template. Next time I need it, I just add it from the template, and the whole list appears instantly. I can just follow it while packing. For things like birthdays, I now manage all of them using TickTick's countdown feature. I set reminders in advance and also have them show up in smart lists. That way, I not only get notified, but I also see them when I check my daily tasks. It's almost impossible for me to forget. Sometimes I also add notes, like gift ideas when I think of something. So when it's time to choose a gift, I just open it and check. Another thing I use quite often is the calendar. Whenever I need to plan my time, I can just drag tasks directly into the calendar. Without setting things step by step, I can turn what to do into when to do it. Sometimes I switch to a time-based view and loosely map out my day. It's very clear what I'm doing and when. And in the monthly view, I occasionally open it just to take a look. You can see what you've completed and what's coming next. It's kind of an interesting feeling, a sense of fulfillment from seeing your time filled, and also a sense of control over what's ahead. And if plans change, I don't need to go in and edit things step by step. I just drag them to adjust. The whole process barely requires any thinking. So for me, it's not something I constantly rely on, but whenever I need it, It can instantly make my system much more powerful. I used to think productivity required a very complex and powerful system, but now I feel like the simpler something is, the easier it is to stick to. My current system isn't perfect. It's a bit messy and not exactly advanced, but it's easy. And for me, that's enough.